What will you do when you love a person so deeply, only to discover the entire relationship was built on lies? What would hurt more, the deception itself, or realizing the love somehow became real? Mary Thompson used to believe that poor people were the ones who suffered the most. Then she met Wu, and she realized something terrifying. Sometimes the richest people were the loneliest. Sometimes the people smiling the hardest were hiding the darkest secrets. And sometimes, love could begin with one tiny lie and end with a heart completely broken. And the worst part, Mary hated liars more than anything else in the world. Unfortunately for her, Wu's entire existence was a lie. Will their love continue if she finds out he was lying to her the entire time? Let's stick into the story and find out. The day everything started was cold. Just cold enough to make people impatient. Mary hurried through the crowded street with a delivery bag hanging across her shoulder. Her manager had already called her 3 times. "Mary, where are you? I'm coming." "You're late again." The customer changed the address. "I don't care, just move faster." The call ended. Mary sighed. "One day," she murmured, "I'm going to throw this phone into the ocean." At that exact moment, she passed a small grocery store. And then she heard shouting. "Old man, move if you can't pay." Mary turned immediately. An elderly man stood beside a fruit stand holding an apple. He looked a little embarrassed. "My grandson is coming," the old man explained politely. "He'll pay when he arrives." The cashier rolled his eyes. "Then wait for your grandson outside." The old man nodded awkwardly. But before he could step away, the cashier shoved his shoulder. Not violently, but disrespectfully. Mary stopped walking. Slowly, she removed her delivery bag. Then she marched toward them. "Did you just push him?" The cashier frowned. "What?" Mary pointed. "Did you push him?" The cashier laughed. "He can't pay." "And?" "So," Mary stared at him for 2 full seconds. "How much is the apple?" $50, says the cashier. Then she grabbed money from her pocket and slapped it onto the counter. "1 apple." The cashier blinked. Mary picked up the apple and handed it gently to the old man. "There you go, have it." The old man looked shocked. "You didn't have to do that." Mary smiled softly. "It's okay." The old man stared at her for a long moment. Then suddenly, his expression changed. A mischievous smile appeared. "You should marry my grandson." Mary nearly choked. "Excuse me." "He's handsome." "Sir." "He's rich too." Mary laughed. "Oh, now I know this is totally a joke." The old man burst into laughter. "I'm serious." "Well, I'm not marrying anybody today. Tomorrow." Mary laughed harder. "You're persistent." "Good daughters-in-law are rare these days." Mary checked the time and gasped. "Oh no." She quickly grabbed her delivery bag. "I really have to go." The old man looked disappointed. Then Mary paused. She grabbed a small piece of paper. "This is my number," she said. "If you ever need help again, call me." The old man stared at the number like it was treasure. Then Mary waved and hurried away. A black luxury car pulled up less than 3 minutes later. Several men in suits stepped out immediately. One of them opened the back door. And then he appeared, tall, sharp eyes. Expensive black suit. Cold expression, Kang Wu, CEO of JS Group. The most feared mafia boss in Seoul. The cashier's face lost all color. He walked straight toward the old man. "Grandpa." The old man smiled immediately. "You're late." Wu sighed. "You scared my security team again." "Relax." Then the grandfather suddenly smiled. "I met your future wife today." Wu froze. "What?" "She bought me an apple." Wu rubbed his forehead. "Grandfather." "She's beautiful too." "Grandfather." "She has kind eyes." "Grandfather." "And she gave me her number." That finally got Wu's attention. Slowly, He looked up. She gave you her number. Yes. Iyuwu's eyes darkened slightly. Another woman. Another person pretending to be kind. Another gold digger. That was what he thought. Because every woman around him wanted something. Money. Power. Luxury. Status. He completely tired. And love. He stopped believing in it years ago, but his grandfather smiled proudly. This one feels different, my instinct tells me. Iyuwu looked away. He had heard those words before, too many times. The next day, Mary received a call. Hello, Apple Girl. Mary burst out laughing immediately. You saved my number as Apple Girl. Of course. Mary shook her head. You're unbelievable. I'm at a restaurant, the grandfather said dramatically, and I think I'm dying. Mary's eyes widened. What? My chest hurts. Did you call an ambulance? No. Why, I called you instead, Mary groaned. Send me the address. 20 minutes later, Mary rushed into an expensive restaurant. Then she stopped. Because sitting beside the old man was the most handsome man she had ever seen. Iyuwu looked up slowly. Their eyes met, and for one strange second, the entire room felt quiet. The grandfather grinned proudly. Apple Girl, meet my grandson. Mary blinked. Oh. Iyuwu nodded politely. Kong Iyuwu. Mary sat down awkwardly. I'm Mary. The grandfather watched them like a child watching his favorite drama. You two would be a perfect match. I do want you to marry my grandson. Mary says, oh no way, I'm not ready to marry to yet. Iyuwu quickly added, you hear that Grandpa she's not into it. Because for him, he was not even ready to. Not with the way girls wanted something from him rather than love. Then suddenly, Mary's phone rang. Her expression changed instantly. Hello, the orphanage director sounded panicked. Mary, we're in trouble. Mary sat upright. What happened? The building owner is threatening to shut us down unless we pay the remaining money this week. Mary's heart dropped. How much? $20,000. Mary nearly stopped breathing. 20,000. That was impossible. Absolutely impossible. The call ended. Mary stared silently at the table. Then suddenly, she looked at the grandfather. Do you still want me to marry your grandson? Iyuwu slowly raised his eyes. The grandfather almost jumped from excitement. Yes. Mary swallowed hard. If you help me with $20,000, I'll do it. Silence. Iyuwu leaned back slowly. There it is. Money, exactly what he expected. Inside his head, he laughed bitterly. 3 minutes. It only took 3 minutes, but strangely, he didn't feel angry. Because when Mary spoke, her eyes looked genuinely desperate. The grandfather smiled warmly. Done. Mary looked stunned. What? I'll help you with the 20,000. Thank you so much, and I promise I will pay you back every penny, Mary said. The old man laughed. Pay me back. Lol, of course not, my dear. But Mary insisted. Iyuwu turned immediately. Grandfather. You're getting married. Grandfather. Today. Mary looked horrified. Iyuwu turned to Mary and say, Are you sure about this because I have no job, no money, I'm entirely a broke dude. I can't afford for you anything. Mary replied, I can take care of myself. The grandfather clapped happily. This is wonderful. And somehow within hours, Mary Thompson became Kong Iyuwu's wife. Without realizing, she had just married one of the most dangerous and richest man in the country. The morning after the wedding, Mary woke up convinced she had ruined her own life. She sat on the edge of her tiny bed, staring at the marriage certificate. Wearing pajamas. Still confused, wondering how a casual lunch had somehow turned into legal marriage. Then suddenly, bang, someone started knocking aggressively at the door. Mary jumped. Who is it? Open the door. It was the grandfather. Mary quickly opened it and immediately froze because standing behind him was Wu. And beside Wu were 3 suitcases. The grandfather pointed dramatically. Your husband is homeless now. Wu closed his eyes slowly. Grandfather, you're married. Couples should live together. Mary blinked. What? The grandfather shoved the luggage forward. He refused to move in with you, so I threw him out of my house. You what? Wu exploded. The grandfather ignored him completely. Mary, take care of my grandson. He's useless. I am not useless. You burned water last week. That happened one time, because you forgot the pot on the stove. Mary accidentally laughed. Wu looked embarrassed for the first time. The grandfather smirked proudly. See, she already likes you. Then before Wu could argue again, the old man climbed back into the taxi and disappeared, leaving Wu standing there, holding luggage, like a confused, abandoned husband. Mary tried not to laugh. So, Wu sighed deeply. My landlord kicked me out. Wish I could afford an apartment on my own. Another lie. Mary moved aside. Well, I guess you can stay. Her apartment was tiny, very tiny. The couch looked like it lost a fight with life. The kitchen was barely functional, and the bathroom door only closed if someone kicked it first. Wu stared at everything silently. This was the first time in years he had entered a normal home. No servants. No marble floors. No bodyguards. Just warmth. And strangely, that night, Mary cooked ramen. Wu watched her quietly. You cook often. I survive often, she corrected. He almost smiled. Then Mary handed him the larger bowl. You eat more. What about you? I'm fine. Wu looked down. Her own portion was clearly smaller, and for the first time in a very long time, something uncomfortable twisted inside of him. Guilt. A week later, Mary finally received good news. A job interview. At JS Group, the biggest company in the city. Mary nearly screamed when she saw the email. Oh my gosh. Wu glanced up from the couch. What? I got an interview. At JS Group. Mary froze. How did you know? Wu's brain stopped working for half a second. Then quickly, I saw the logo on your email. Mary narrowed her eyes suspiciously. Wish me luck. You'll do well. And strangely, he meant it. The next morning, Mary walked nervously into JS Group. Massive building, luxury everywhere. Employees rushing around. Mary looked completely out of place. Then suddenly, she saw Wu standing near the elevators. Mary's eyes widened. What are you doing here? Wu nearly died internally. Think fast. Oh, he said casually, I work here. Mary blinked. You do, but you said you didn't have a job. I just started working here, you know I have to be a man too. I'm a driver. A driver, yes. For who? The CEO. Mary looked impressed. Wow, Wu felt strangely ashamed. Not because he was lying, but because she looked genuinely proud of him. Then suddenly, another man appeared. Tall, elegant, confident. Jai-Hu. Wu's best friend and temporary fake CEO. Jai-Hu immediately understood the situation. So he played along. You must be Mary. Mary bowed politely. Nice to meet you, sir. Jai-Hu smiled. Wu talks about you often. Wu nearly choked. I do not. Jai-Hu ignored him. Good luck with your interview. Mary smiled brightly. Thank you. As she walked away, Jai-Hu leaned closer. You're insane. Wu sighed. I know. She's your wife. I know. And she thinks you're a driver. I know. Jai-Hu burst into laughter. This is the stupidest thing you've ever done. The terrifying thing, Wu was starting to think the same. Mary got the job. Unfortunately, her coworkers were horrible, especially one woman. Yuna. Pretty, arrogant, cruel. The type of person who smiled while insulting people. "Wow," Yuna said loudly on Mary's first day. "Your shoes look affordable." Several workers laughed. Mary forced a smile. "It's called poverty." Even Yuna looked surprised. Then one employee snorted loudly. Did she just joke about being poor? Mary shrugged. Does being financially down define a person? That line accidentally made people laugh. Except Yuna. Yuna hated her immediately. Meanwhile, Iyuwu watched everything through security cameras upstairs. His expression darkened. She insulted Mary's shoes. Jaihu sighed. "Please don't destroy somebody's career over shoes again. I'm thinking about it. You banned a manager last month because he called Mary loud. He deserved it. You terrify me." But despite the bullying, Mary kept smiling, working and helping everybody, and somehow, that made Iyuwu fall even harder in love with her. Every day, he discovered something new about her. She secretly bought lunch for interns. She stayed late helping cleaners. She gave half her paycheck to the orphanage. And every night, she still came home smiling. One night, Iyuwu noticed something strange. Mary handed him chicken. Meanwhile, her own plate had only chips. Iyuwu frowned. "Why are you not eating?" "I already ate earlier." He could literally hear her stomach growling. Iyuwu stared at her quietly. Then finally asked, "Why are you always sacrificing for everybody?" Mary smiled softly. "Because I know what it feels like when nobody sacrifices for you." He jokingly said, "What if I told you I'm wealthy enough that all I said was a lie?" She looked at him. Was it a lie? He quickly said, "No, of course, I'm just joking. Just an optimistic imagination of wishing I'm rich." She smiled and looked at him. "It's fine, Iyuwu. I hate liars the most in this world more than anything, so if you're lying, I will divorce you." That sentence stayed in Iyuwu's mind all night. Because suddenly, he realized something scaring. He was falling in love with his own wife. For real. And now, the lies were becoming dangerous. The annual JS group party was approaching. Everyone was excited. Except Mary. Because invitations were extremely limited. And somehow, hers disappeared. Yuna smiled. "Oh no, maybe poor people don't qualify." Mary clenched her jaw, but later, Iyuwu handed her his invitation. Mary blinked. "Why would you give me your own invitation? And you know you can't attend the party without invitation." Iyuwu panicked internally. The CEO might grant me another chance." Mary stared. "The CEO knows you. I drive him around." Mary looked impressed again. "You're more lucky than I thought." Iyuwu nearly laughed from guilt. If only she knew. But upstairs, Yuna was watching. Everything. And jealousy was beginning to grow. Because nobody understood why the company kept favoring Mary. So eventually, Yuna decided to investigate, and that decision would destroy everything. Yuna could not understand why management kept protecting Mary. It irritated her. Every mistake Mary made disappeared. Every complaint against her vanished. And somehow, the company kept favoring a girl who still brought homemade lunch inside a plastic container. One evening after work, Yuna decided to follow Iyuwu. At first, nothing looked strange. He wore cheap clothes, walked quietly, acted ordinary. Then suddenly, a black luxury car stopped beside him. The man in suits stepped out immediately and bowed. Yuna froze. Her eyes widened slowly as Iyuwu entered the vehicle, not like a driver, like a king. The next day, Yuna started investigating secretly, and what she discovered was unbelievable. Kang Iyuwu was the real CEO of JS Group. Billionaire. Mafia boss, owner of the company. Yuna stared at the screen in complete shock. Then slowly, she smiled. Because now, she finally had a weapon powerful enough to destroy Mary. There was only one person cruel enough to enjoy Mary's destruction. Siwa, Iyuwu's ex-girlfriend. Beautiful, elegant, and manipulative. The type of woman who believed money was the same thing as love. When Yuna secretly sent her the information about Mary, Seo, Ah became furious immediately. A delivery girl. What he picked now over me. He replaced me with a delivery girl. But then she learned the truth. Mary did not know Iyuwu was rich. And suddenly, Sihua understood everything. Iyuwu was testing Mary, hiding his identity from her, but she couldn't name why. But something about the situation bothered her deeply. Iyuwu never looked at her the way he looked at Mary, and jealousy slowly became hatred. The JS Group annual party looked unreal. Crystal lights, luxury dresses, powerful people everywhere. Mary stood near the entrance feeling nervous. "I don't belong here," she whispered. Then suddenly, Iyuwu appeared beside her. Even in a simple black suit, he looked devastatingly handsome. Mary stared for 2 seconds too long. Iyuwu noticed. "Why are you looking at me like that?" Mary quickly looked away. "Nothing. You just stared into my soul." "I did not." "You absolutely did." Mary laughed despite herself. And for a moment, things felt normal, warm and safe. But upstairs on the second floor, Siwa watched them quietly, and her eyes darkened. Because she realized something. Iyuwu was genuinely in love. 2 days later, Mary received a phone call from an exhausted delivery worker. "Mary, please," the girl begged. "I need help with one last delivery." Mary hesitated. I no longer worked delivery jobs anymore. But she still helped her anyway. "Okay," Mary sighed. "Send the address." An hour later, Mary arrived carrying a large cake box. The house looked expensive. Mary knocked politely. The door opened. Then her heart stopped. Sihua stood there smiling. Behind her were several rich women laughing quietly. Mary instantly understood. This was a setup. "Oh," Siwa said softly, "the poor wife arrived." Mary turned immediately. But one woman grabbed the cake box, another shoved her. Then suddenly, splat. Cake covered Mary's clothes. The women burst into laughter. Mary stood frozen. Humiliated. Embarrassed. Heartbroken. Then Siwa walked closer slowly. "You really don't know who your husband is." Mary frowned. "What?" Siwa laughed softly. "Kang Iyuwu." Mary's stomach tightened. "He's not a driver. He owns JS Group." Mary stared blankly. Siwa smiled cruelly. "He's the richest man in this city." The room suddenly felt cold. Mary's breathing became uneven. "No." Siwa stepped closer. "He lied to you. Maybe he doesn't love enough to tell you." Mary's hands trembled. "No." And at that exact moment, Iyuwu arrived, because one of his men had passed information to him. Iyuwu looked at her covered in cake, then slowly looked at Siwa. His expression became terrifying. "What did you do?" Even Siwa stepped back slightly. But Mary interrupted. Her voice shook. "You lied to me." Iyuwu froze. "Mary, you lied to me. Please let me explain." Tears filled her eyes immediately. All this time, Iyuwu stepped closer. "I never meant to hurt you." Mary laughed bitterly. "You watched me struggle. Mary, I worked multiple jobs." His chest tightened painfully. "And you just stood there pretending to be poor." "I was scared." That answer destroyed her. "Scared?" Iyuwu swallowed hard. "I thought you were like everybody else." Mary stared at him in disbelief. "So our marriage was a test?" "No." "Then what was it?" Iyuwu looked shattered. Because he no longer had an answer. Mary's voice broke. "I hate lies." And suddenly, she remembered her father's lies to her mother. The cheating, secrets, her mother dying heartbroken without ever being told a single truth by her father. Mary stepped backward slowly. Love built on lies is worthless. Then she walked away. And for the first time in years, Kang Iyu felt truly helpless. Mary locked herself inside her apartment. Iyu came the next day, knocking, begging. "Mary, please open the door." Silence. The second day, he came again. "Please talk to me." Nothing. The third day, he stood outside for hours. Rain poured heavily. But he never left. "Mary." His voice sounded broken now. "I love you." Inside the apartment, Mary covered her mouth trying not to cry. Then suddenly, the knocking stopped. Completely. Mary frowned. Too quiet. Slowly, she opened the door. And froze. Iyu had collapsed outside, completely unconscious. Mary panicked instantly. "Iyu." No response. Her hands trembled. She shook him harder. Still nothing. "Somebody help." She pulled out her phone and dialed emergency. At the hospital, the doctor said, Iyu collapsed out of emotional stress. He's going to be fine and be awake anytime soon. Iyu best friend, Jaihu finally told Mary the truth. "He really loves you." Mary looked exhausted. "He lied to me." "Yes," Jaihu admitted quietly, "because he's stupid." Despite herself. Mary almost laughed. Then she decided to leave before Iyu gets awake. On her way outside, she received a strange phone call. Then everything went dark. Hours later, Mary woke up inside an unfamiliar room. Locked. Kidnapped. Iyu finally woke up and asked Jaihu about Mary, but he said she already left. Iyu got home but couldn't find Mary. It felt strange. He ordered his men to search for her but still couldn't find her, and finally he got a call from Siwa. Siwa told him, "If you still want your wife alive, you have to cooperate with me. I hope you understand." She told Iyu she would officially announce that coming back to together, and he has to operate if not. Iyu accept and play along just to make sure Mary was safe. After 7 hours, Siwa stood before reporters smiling beautifully. "We're happy to announce that Iyu and I are officially back together." Cameras flashed everywhere. Iyu stood beside her silently. Cold, then Siwa whispered, "If you don't cooperate, your wife dies." The reporters cheered loudly, and some asked questions. "Isn't Mr. Iyu already married?" But she snapped it off by saying that poor thing only tried to steal my fiancé from me. She smiled proudly. Then she handed Iyu the microphone. "Say something." The entire room became silent. Iyu slowly took the microphone. Then calmly said, "Today, I'm transferring all my wealth and ownership to my wife." Siwa's smile disappeared. The reporters gasped. "All properties." Silence. "All company shares." Siwa looked horrified. "All assets." The room exploded into chaos. "And everything I own now belongs to Mary Thompson." Siwa screamed. "What?" Iyu looked at her coldly. "You wanted money." His eyes became emotionless. "Now I have none." At that same moment, one of his men rushed forward. "Sir, we found her location." Iyu immediately left. And 20 minutes later, he kicked open the warehouse doors where Mary was trapped. The captivators panicked, but Iyu's men handled them instantly. Then finally, Iyu saw her. Mary, alive. His entire body relaxed. Mary looked at him silently and quietly whispered, "You gave away everything." Iyu walked closer. "You matter more." Mary's eyes filled with tears. And for the first time since discovering the truth, she finally understood. His lies were real. But somehow, his love had become real too. A month later, Mary stood inside Iyu's real house for the first time. Massive windows, luxury walls, beautiful gardens. Mary looked overwhelmed. Then suddenly she frowned. "You own 3 living rooms." Iyu looked embarrassed. "Maybe." Mary laughed. Then she walked closer slowly. "One more lie," she warned softly. Ayuwu nodded immediately. Never again. Mary narrowed her eyes. You said that very fast. I'm scared of you now. You shouldn't be. He smiled. And finally, for the first time since this strange story began, Kang Iyu felt peaceful. Not because he was rich or powerful, but because somebody finally loved the man behind the money. And Mary, she finally realized something too. Sometimes love arrived in broken ways. Messy ways. Painful ways. But real love stayed. Even after the truth destroyed everything first. Welcome to Secret Mafia Love, and join the family by hitting the subscription button. Stay active for the next story is Cooking, written and directed by Charles.